Hello, everybody. We welcome you to the October 2020 Connect Group, and we're very blessed to have you gathered with your groups tonight, whether via Zoom or you're live in person. We're just glad that the community of believers is gathered together, and tonight's a very special night. I have Pastor John here with me, and he wants to go ahead and be able to talk about some things regarding the future of Connect Groups and some opportunities that are going to be provided to the church body in the very near future. And so I'm going to go ahead and take the floor and turn it over to Pastor John.
Thank you, Pastor Ray. Good evening. So glad to be able to be with you. Glad you've come to your Connect Group tonight. And I want to share with you a little bit about where we are, where we've come from as Connect Groups, where we are right now, and what we need to do going forward. As you're aware, the church right now, the world right now, our communities are at a very different time. And you're very well aware of that. I don't have to go through a lot of the detail of that. And what it's done is it's brought into focus how critical our being connected together with one another as a church community in a real meaningful way. And that was the intention of Connect Groups in the very beginning. That's why we called them Connect Groups. And they're over 10 years old. And some of our leaders have been involved from the very, very beginning. And the vision for them was exactly that, to bring people together in a relationship that could grow in trust so they could share openly and honestly with one another. And to that extent, it's been good. But the concern we've had as leadership here, as we've looked at where we are as a church community and where the need is based on what we're going through, is we realize the problem is that this church community has not really engaged this concept of Connect Groups. It's not really become involved. Many of you have been very faithful to it and found great meaning and great strength and help through your involvement in it as you prayed for one another, as you cared about one another under the leadership of those faithful leaders that you've had. And so we're so grateful for that. But the problem is it's not spread to the rest of the church. So what we've done is we've gone through and spent some time kind of analyzing and praying about what do we need to do? How can we get the church more engaged? To do that, there are basically two things that we see we need to do. We need to change the focus of the Connect Groups, not just around connecting, but around some interest, something that is affecting people's lives, so that will draw people together around that common interest or that common need. And then as a byproduct out of that, they'll begin to open up and connect to one another's. That was part of what we were attempting to do back in the beginning part of this year, when we had those workshop Wednesdays, and we selected, this was just a start, some areas of interest such as healthful eating and such as, In His Steps, and we had some others, blended families, and they were just starting when this pandemic hit and everything shut down. So that was the first thing. We have a need for people to begin to connect together in a more meaningful way. And so what we've done is we've kind of looked at where they are now. The second thing about it, is that we've been doing Connect Groups that you've been part of for over 10 years right now. And any kind of program in a church has gone on that long, and maybe you should have looked at it even sooner. It's time to reevaluate what we're doing and how we're doing that. So we needed to do that anyway, because the model that we have used in all of our small groups before is we've realized is really treats these small groups as if we're another church service. And we're in a time when people don't need another church service. They need to be able to communicate with each other in a meaningful way. So, bottom line, we've looked at where we need to go. So we are working on a program right now which we anticipate beginning at the start of this 2021, where it's around those common interests, and we've selected several of them to start out with. Our plan is to expand them. Now, in order to do that, we believe we needed to make a break with the existing Connect Group system so that we could remold it, rebirth it into this new program. So that means several things. That means, first of all, this will be your last formal Connect Group meeting. We've already talked to the leaders. We've let the leaders know about this. Some of you may already be aware of it because we told the leaders they didn't need to hide this or keep it secret. They could share it if they wanted to. But I wanted a chance to come and share with you why we were doing this and where we're going from here. Now, that means several things. We're not telling you not to connect with one another. Many of you have formed very meaningful relationships with one another through prayer, through sharing with one another. You've talked with one another, you text back and forth, and we want you to continue that. We're trying to foster more connection, more caring for one another in a very meaningful way, not stop it. So whatever relationships you want, and your leaders are told if they want to continue to talk with you and pray with you, please go ahead and do this. It's just that the formal meetings that we've scheduled, that Pastor Ray has done a great job of teaching, that I had done before that, we're not going to be doing that as a formal meeting, and the church will not be inviting people to come. But you can continue those relationships. We really want you to do that. So we're going to begin this new program the beginning of the year, and we want you to be, the second thing is we want you to be engaged and involved in that. Again, the goal here is to begin to engage this whole congregation, if we can, in programs of sharing and connecting with each other in small groups. The second thing is that we found that as one of the drawbacks of in getting people involved and even getting leaders involved is because these connect groups just go on month after month after month. And we found that we believe that in order for meaningful relationships to develop, they have to meet more often than once a month. But to ask a leader to do that like every week or every other week for ad infinitum is makes it harder to get leaders and harder to get people to commit to it. So these special interests, small groups, will be for definite periods of time, and there'll be different lengths because based on the program and the curriculum and whatever is involved in it. So, and we're still formulating all of that, but the goal is to do this in the beginning of the year and to hit this with an all full court press to get the church involved in that and engaged in it. So we would please hope you would become interested and engaged in that. So that's kind of where we are. So as a result, this is your last formal meeting. So I want to also express my gratitude for the leaders that you've had. You've developed very close relationships with them in many cases, and then some of them have been with us from the beginning. And as I expressed to them when I met with them through a Zoom meeting several weeks ago, I really treasure their commitment and what they've done. They've impacted your lives, and I just want to thank them in front of you for their faithfulness, and I hope you will express that to them also. I also want to thank Pastor Ray for his faithful teaching month after month for these last 3 years. He took over for me because I wanted to there's some other things I wanted to get involved in. This is very much his heart of connecting to people, and I just wanted you to hear his heart and his faithfulness in his teaching. So I wanted to publicly thank him for that. And I just want to make sure I've covered everything. I think that's basically it. Pastor Ray, is there anything else you can think of?
Yes, sir. To reiterate something Pastor had said, the potential of what the new groups are going to be in the new year, he just mentioned a few possibilities. We are in the process of working out the particular topics and subject matter that's going to be discussed in some of the groups, and so there's more information to come about that. We encourage you to stay tuned in and know that that'll be a blessing to you, and we believe that ultimately that what's going to happen is that there's going to be a group that'll be a fit for everybody. If someone's not a fit in one, they can be a fit in the other, but just a way to be able to meet the needs and address specific areas in the body of Christ. As Pastor mentioned a few, like for instance, the blended family idea, the book In the Steps, and some of the other Wednesday night workshop ideas. There's going to be more than that to choose from, and we're in the process of praying out and talking out those particular subject matters that are going to be available. And we believe that God's going to give us wisdom, and we're excited to be able to bring that to you over the next few months to come.
One more thing is in the Zoom meeting that we had with your leaders, they gave us some good ideas. They gave us some good input, which we've made notes of and going to look at how we integrate that in. And I just want to end by saying my part, and I'll turn it over to Pastor Ray to close it out. There is such an awareness, I think, of people today of our need to be connected together with one another. And we have obstacles in our way right now because of limitations that we have. But the hunger and the desire, I think, and that is in people right now to connect. So this is a great time, a great opportunity to move to meet that need. And your experience through these years, for those of you that have been doing it for a while, your experience of what you can get out of that is a great resource to share with other people as we begin to announce this. So I'd please, you're the greatest advertisement we have for what you can get by being committed to a group together. So would encourage you to be involved, would encourage you to share your enthusiasm with others. We'd encourage you to share your questions and comments with us because we're growing and learning in quite how to do this. So again, thank you so much for being part of this today and tonight, and just turn this back over to Pastor Ray. Thank you, Pastor Ray.
Thank you, Pastor. As we close out our video time with you today, I just want to mention this to you, that throughout the course of time, Connect groups have really helped to establish what we as believers should naturally be doing. Mm-hmm. That aspect of connecting with each other, looking out for each other, getting us out of the zone of seeing just us in our own little world and us four no more, and being able to see the needs of others, to be able to care for those needs, but also to realize that we are not intended by God to do life as a believer alone. Amen. As a matter of fact, it's amazing how many times the Bible uses the term one another. Right. When it comes to love one another, or also in other ways, that term one another is a very common term in the New Testament, and it certainly implies that we are not to do this by ourselves. And, that's something that I wanted to go ahead and be able to say as we're sharing these final thoughts with you tonight. But also, I want to say this, that what Connect Group has established in you and that habit of looking out for others, praying for others, checking up on others, I believe that that served a very good purpose to instill something in us, to stir up something inside of us that should not just be part of something that we do as a part of a Connect Group or part of any other upcoming program or opportunity that is going to be offered through the church, but that this is part of who we are, our daily life, our daily way of doing things. That the idea of connecting is not something that we need a church program or opportunity to do, but that it's very much in our DNA, very much in who we are, and that as you have done over the course of these years as being part of a Connect Group, that you continue to do the same. Not just as far as leaders looking out and connecting, but I'm especially talking about individual members of the Connect Group continuing that same practice of looking out for each other, praying for each other, being there for each other. That is just a believer doing what a believer ought to be doing. And we encourage you to do so more and more. And the fact that you can do that out of your own initiative, out of your own heart, and thank God for the wonderful opportunities that we have through the programs and the opportunities that are going to be, we're going to hear about and we're going to see happening in the very near future. But the thing is that this coming out of your own heart is the very, very best way it happens. And we encourage you to go ahead and focus in on that more and more. And I'll tell you, we love you a bunch, yes. And we're so glad to have you with us during this time. We appreciate all of our leaders and appreciate all of those who have attended Connect Groups, who've made Connect Groups a priority. And we bless you in the name of the Lord. And as always, we say, stay connected and keep connecting others. We love you. God bless you. Well,